Hey guys, SKNOVA here, getting ready to do a video on a topic that, as I've researched it, I realize is going to be pretty big. So I'm going to split it into three parts actually, and this is the best characters for Arena. I've been in Gold 4 Arena for a couple months now. It is definitely getting more and more challenging every week that passes. I was pretty lucky to pull some pretty good Arena heroes. Here's some of the arenas or heroes in my my current list. I promised some people in chat that I would show my Bad Alcazar. That's one character I forgot to show last time, amongst a few other ones. But I used Bad Al still in Clan Boss, so he's geared for speed. I did put crit damage, HP I think, and speed boots. You can see he only has the 35 speed boots. The better speed boots are on my Seeker. I think those are the only really good speed boots I've got. So those two are the ones that have them. And so I'm just quickly going over Arena. I think there's sort of two strategies in Arena. There is the go first, get a very bursty team, and AoE or kill the other team as fast as possible. That's the strategy that I have taken. The second strategy is to become very defensive, have good debuffs and cooldowns and counterattack and those kind of things, be able to withstand the AoE characters who typically do not have as much health and defense. And if you can withstand their initial burst of AoE, typically you can beat them in the second or third round of going because they won't be able to survive. And after the big first burst of AoE, most characters don't have a really great follow-up. So, my Arena team will pop over here to Arena. Let's see. Well, let's look at some of the characters in Gold 4. So, it's really, there's very few character that you see in the higher level Arena. Most people tend to be moving towards the same teams. So I can probably assume that those are typically the better characters. Some of the teams have characters that are probably more geared for Clan Boss. They do high damage, kind of bursty teams. So Bossan here, the very first one on the list. Nethril, Zavia, Fushan, potentially could all be used on a Clan Boss. And then that team seem to be more bursty. They're geared extremely defensive-like, and they win pretty easily. Second team with Martyr, Baron, Rashguard, and Gorgrab, super defensive. So those are the teams that I typically avoid. As you can see, I did not fight them. So what I kind of want to talk about first is the bursty attack type team. And you sort of need high damage. They'll typically be legendary characters. I will go over the high damage AoE characters in the next video. What I want to talk about here is potentially the characters that give you that burst. And it's actually pretty easy to start with because there's really two that most people look for. And I'll show you the main reason for that. The two that most people go for are Gorgrab and Seeker. And I think Seeker potentially more on offense and Gorgrab more on defense. They both have a very similar ability. They're A2 in both cases. Fills turn meter, and it gives everyone an increased attack buff. That is good. Increased attack is huge for Arena. That's what gives you the ability to one-shot and destroy people. The reason Gorgrab is sort of better on defense, I think, is because he has the revive ability and a heal, and oftentimes you may end up going second, and then you may have lost a character or two from all the AoE burst. This guy keeps you going for a little bit longer, potentially great. The other reason he's used a lot is because of his speed aura. It's the 23% variety. I think there's 4 or 5 characters that have a 23% speed boost in Arena, and there's 2 that I know of that are higher. Possibly other legendaries, I'll have to double check that. But Gorgrab and Seeker are basically, I'd say, almost must-haves. There's one or two legendaries that I'd say are better, but because they give you both the turn meter increase and the increased attack in one go, they are typically the characters that you use to buff your team to be able to go first. And if you can go first, hopefully you can win with an AoE bursty team. Even on a defensive team, you want to go as soon as possible. You don't necessarily want to go second. And so both these characters are going to be good. So for epic characters in the arena, these guys are top tier. You don't necessarily need both of them, one or the other. The reason typically why Seeker will be better for offense is A, it gives you a little bit more turn meter, and 2, you can attack the other team's Gore Grab or Seeker, potentially provoke them, and then takes them out of the battle. They don't buff their team if they're provoked, because they'll just come back and attack your Seeker, give you potentially more chance of winning. So Gore Grab's A1 has a chance of removing a buff, but on offense that doesn't give you much advantage if you're going first. So Gore Grab and Seeker have very similar abilities, but they're slightly different niches. So that's how I would kind of define it. If you have both, congratulations. Gore Grab's a character I still kind of really want, just I've never gotten. I would build Gore Grab a lot more tanky. Obviously, people will try to focus him or kill him first, but because he has a revive ability, you obviously don't want him to die. You'd rather have your other characters die first and him die second. So you need to build him speedy, but also with high HP and high defense so that you can survive. So choose gear appropriate for that. There's a few other characters that are really good. One of them being, she must be Banner Lords. Oh. Oops, she's a high elf. So Lysandra. So you can see 24% speed in all battles. So maybe slightly better than the 23% in that ballpark. And basically she has the same ability as a Seeker, but instead of giving people attack damage, she gives them speed, but she has the super awesome bonus of decreasing the turn meter of all enemies. So the first list of characters we're going through are the ones that buff the turn meter of all allies and potentially decrease the turn meter of all enemies. There's lots of characters with turn meter reduction and turn meter increase for a single character or for themselves. But what you'll want in Arena is to be able to decrease all turn meter that much better. You don't get that many chances, that many turns in Arena typically, so you need to make the most of every single turn. So anything that attacks all, buffs all, debuffs all, those are the abilities that you really want. So Lysandra is definitely up there. She would replace Seeker or Gore Grab potentially. Again, slightly different abilities, but basically all of her abilities are interesting. Or her A2 and her A3 are both really interesting. Her A1, you don't normally put a lot of debuffs in Arena, stuff like poisons and those kind of things aren't used, but defense down will be common. You can transfer that. Pretty niche. It's not really needed, but if she's sort of, one of the last couple ones standing, maybe it's beneficial. But she's got the speed aura, so definitely could replace Gore Grab. And on offense, could easily replace Seeker too. So awesome to use, but being a legendary character, probably not one you're going to plan for. If you have her, congratulations. So I think those are the top 3 for the purpose of trying to go first. And all 3 of those for Arena, you would build in all speed sets. Gore Grab, probably a little bit more tanky. Potentially Seeker with a little more accuracy to get his provoke. And Lysandra, pretty much just all speed. Maybe accuracy for her debuff ability, but I don't think you really need to worry about that. Just make her as fast as possible so she goes first. Okay, so there's a few other characters I think are really good. Maybe more early on. So I'll give you the the budget versions of these. So if you're just starting out, you're in kind of the beginning range. I think it's Blood Painter. Let me just double check to see if I got this right. There you go. So he is actually a reasonably speedy character. So you get him to say 30 or 40, you're in that range, and you put a bunch of speed gear on him that you have. He'll give you the mini version of of the Seeker, right? He gives you the turn meter increase and he gives you an attack buff. So he's the discount version of Seeker. His other abilities, possibly not as useful, but if you need to go first and you only have rare characters right now, you don't have a large pool of epics to choose from, and you happen to pull him from Ancient Shard early on, there you go. He is the budget turn boost, along with a farmable character. So in the beginning, you'll probably see a lot more of Diablois. She has sort of a similar to Lysandra ability, where she gives you a turn meter buff and decreases the enemy, allowing more of your characters to go first. Can also be very beneficial. And she also has a speed buff built into her attack all enemies. So that makes her pretty decent early on, but obviously replaced by better characters pretty quickly. So if you're going through bronze, you kind of have a bursty team. You maybe get a couple good AoE characters like, say, Bellower or Sinisha or Skullcrown, or a couple epics that are really good. Maybe you want to start looking to something like that and getting a discount buffer until you can replace her. So there's actually a few really good legendaries that have turn meter decrease. So after your buff character, if your next move can be your next character with the next highest level of speed on your arena team, can do an AoE turn meter down, that gives you a better chance of getting all of your characters to attack. So the one that I like the best, and I was very lucky to get, is Big Un, however you want to say that. Has this ability Molten Slag, attacks everybody twice, does a double AoE attack, decreases turn meter by 25%. I think it is per turn, because I think I've seen turn meters decrease by up to 50%. May be wrong on that, but also has a chance, very small chance, of placing a decreased speed debuff, but you don't really need that. That's not the main purpose. Your main purpose, decrease turn meter, and then you can go again. All of his abilities are AoE, making him awesome for arena. His speed is good by default. He's very high attack as well, so he does tons of damage. Absolutely great character. What do the reviews say? Arena offense 4.8. I don't know if he would be as good on defense, right? Like his defense stats are lower. He's definitely, for a big ogre dude, I wouldn't really want to call him a glass cannon, but definitely more attack focused than defense focused. But one character to definitely look out for the turn meter reduction. Another very common one is Nethril. I'm not going to say a common character, but one that I see a lot in in Gold 4 Arena. Same kind of thing. He can be used on offense very well. On defense, he tends to use this ability first before the turn meter reduction. It's a little bit harder to plan for how your arena defense will go. Typically, the characters seem to use their A2 ability and then their A3 ability, and you don't always get 2 turns in arena, so that might not be as beneficial. But on offense, you get to choose how you want to attack, and he becomes very good. He's also amazing on the clan boss. So Nethril overall, great in high-end clan boss, great in high-end arena, so amazing character. Let's see. Razin, very similar to Nethril in that he is awesome in many different areas, has the turn meter decrease 100%. Realistically, it doesn't really matter how much turn meter decrease you get, whether it be 50, 25, 100, as long as you get all of your characters to go first. Even a 25% decrease probably gets most of your characters to go first. All of your arena characters are going to have be level 60, fully ascended, and have speed boots as a given. hopefully have more speed stats on other pieces. So unless you're gearing full speed and going up to, the 280 speed range, which is probably close to max, if you have 170 to 200 speed, you're probably in the higher level of speed. That's probably where most people in Gold 4 kind of average out, I'd say, based off the characters I've had that have gone first or second or that kind of order. Razin is another guy who, like Nethro, fantastic on in-game clan boss because of his 3-hit. Provides both of the really good debuffs that you kind of want, maybe other than the decreased attack. And has turn meter decrease, which isn't useful on clan boss, but absolutely fantastic in many of the dungeons and in arena. So I think those are some of the top guys to get. Next area that's super important is the aura. So there's a few characters, like I mentioned briefly, that have the speed aura. Gorgrab is 23%. Lysandra and Fushan are 24%. But two that make the biggest difference. So first one we'll go with Prince Kaimar. His aura is actually 30%. That makes a big difference, right? That extra 6% is applied to your base, so it's extra 6 speed. Doesn't seem like a lot in many cases, but when every speed counts to go first in arena and get your Seeker buffed and attack the other person, the Seeker, so that they don't buff their own team, this can be make or break it, right? So not only that, all of his abilities are really awesome in the arena, filling the turn meter, resetting all the cooldowns, all the champions, amazing. Attacking all enemies, removing all buffs, potentially placing a sleep debuff, which is kind of a terrible debuff, but still very useful. Takes them out of a round until they get attacked. The poison is not useful, but still AoE attack, right? And this guy, he's a support character, so you can see his stats are a little bit more balanced, I'd say. Becomes pretty tanky, slightly hard to kill. Most people seem to build him for attack. Realistically, you kind of can do a hybrid. His overall damage isn't huge. It's his ability, his aura, which is amazing, and his ability to buff all the other people that make him really, really powerful. You pair him with other high AoE damage people, he's probably not going to be your main damage dealer. So as a support character, fantastic. And the other guy, who also happens to be a demon spawn, Lord Chazar. Now, speed aura only applies in arena, but it is the highest in the game. His bomb attack is insanely deadly. Basically, you use Zac attack. I think. So maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but the way bombs work, they don't really crit. They just do a high amount of damage based off your attack. So you basically stack attack, which changes some of the masteries that you choose for someone like Lord Chazar with a bomb debuff. And well, I don't know what else to say. You use your AoE ability, you attack everybody, bomb goes off. Even, defensively geared characters, when bombs are doing, 15, 20k damage, you can wipe out very defensive characters too. I don't necessarily know if he's great on clan boss. I don't see many people using him there. And then the speed aura doesn't apply anywhere outside of arena, but in arena he's an absolute beast. And he paired with a Seeker, paired with two other high damage dealers, probably going to wipe out most teams. Very, very, very solid arena hero. So, Lord Chazar first, Prince Kaimar second, and then you do need a speed aura. So if you're looking to get into high gold arena, without a speed aura, you're really going to struggle. You'd have to build a very, very defensive team because you're most likely not going to be able to go first. If you go back to the arena, you'll see that pretty much everybody in there is some combination of that. So the first one is Fushan for an aura, Seeker speed. The second one has Gorgrab, who has speed aura and speed boost. You got Prince Kaimar and a Seeker. Then you got an interesting, probably more defensive hybrid team with Razin. But it's got a Rush guard who is insanely overpowered. So if any of you have fought him in arena, you know what I mean. If people thought that Rain Beast was bad early on, wait until you start fighting Rush guards. I'm looking for characters that could counter him, and I have one, and I'm working on gearing him up. I don't know how well it's going to work. I'll show you that in a moment here. Next one, Kaimar, Seeker. Kaimar again with, no, there's speed buff, but a counterattack and Martyr. Ray and Warlord, who are insanely huge AoE DPS. Solid team, and then a Gore Grab. And I'll refresh the list just because we can. Skullcrown, who has a Speed Aura and a Seeker. This goes on and on. Second team is actually super defensive, right? A Martyr. The Nations isn't really a defensive hero, maybe more offensive. Belanor, who's a great healer, and a Rush Guard. Rush Guard, the annoying, hard to fight. There's a Lysandra. I've probably tried to fight most of these teams at one point or another. Even the Skullcrown team, it can be very random. I'll show you a few battles. Why not, right? You can kind of see a bit of what I mean by my team. Maybe it'll give you some ideas for arena. So Secret does need one of the masteries, which on hit reduces turn meter. Very important to have. So you can see I attacked, broke the Seeker. He doesn't buff the team. That gives my Big Un a chance to go in here and reduce some turn meter. Didn't reduce raise there. I have two choices with Royal Huntsman. I can do the AoE that decreases defense, or I can do this one-shot thing that mostly takes out heroes in one shot. And then Fushan can use a Shred or his other AoE ability. And Skullcrown's going to come out with a big, massive 2-hit burst AoE on the second stunner. So I try to toss a stun on her. Doesn't always work. Even if I provoke her or whatever, she's still going to do her AoE ability. So I have a couple of tries at stunning. You can see how many turns I get before they attack. She does her big damage attack, and then the game's over. Skullcrown, awesome defensive character. Well, it's not really defensive. It's just that she's always guaranteed to at least attack once, unless she's CC'd, stunned, slept, frozen, that kind of stuff. That guy's always been running the 3-character team. So that is not a bad idea to rank down. You can see him ranking up pretty high. I'm finding lots of teams that are super tough. See this team. So pretty high. We'll see. As the teams are getting higher, the thing I'm struggling with is if the Seekers are fast and they also resist my taunt or my turn meter down, I have a higher chance of losing. And if they have a second, it can be Apothecary, it can be Gore Grab, it can be Lysandra, second character with super high speed as well, also buffs the team, I struggle with that too. So it is getting harder and harder. So Warlord actually has a great turn meter decrease ability too. I should talk about that as well. I should add him to the list. But you can see on defense he doesn't always use it. And I'm okay with that, because it makes him a little bit easier. He uses it for his second round here. See, turn meter reduction. But by then, hopefully most of the other team is gone. So he's not always my first worry, but if it's a very defensive team and he's still alive, then I might lose a second turn and I might lose the game there. So the more you play sort of the same teams over and over again at this tier, then the more you kind of realize how to do it, how things work, how to win. And it is good to farm arena. The buffs are huge, so for some people who may not know, in the Great Hall here, these stats apply to all of your characters throughout all of the other parts of the game. So obviously, accuracy becomes huge in Clan Boss later on. That's sort of where I'd recommend stacking a lot of points, as well as resist, because typically you're not gearing for resist. You're looking at it as a bonus stat, and in most cases you're looking at it for something that you don't get on your gear. You'd rather have all the other stats besides resist. So especially if you're doing arena, it's good to get a few points in resist at least, but it gets expensive. I'm sort of planning this out more for a PvE type world, so you get attack and crit damage wherever possible, and accuracy, obviously. But yeah, it gets crazy to level. So my next level here is 800 gold tokens, and if I play and win every single round, you're looking at 100 to maybe 150 tokens a day max without buying extra token rounds. So it takes many days of farming for one level. And that's assuming you win every match, which at this tier is not always possible. So, yeah, okay, I'll show you how I geared my champions for where they're at, and I'll show you some of the masteries. Now, Fushan, I have messed up masteries because I haven't redone them. He was originally, I've always used him for arena, and if I wanted to use him for more of a clan boss role, I'd have to change it. But he's not really pure arena, he's not really pure clan boss. He's sort of a hybrid build, which is a little bit terrible. I built this in because I was hoping to one-shot people, but then you're missing out on the abilities that are really good for clan boss, that would give you extra damage on the clan boss. Like this life drinker ability, I have sort of the two opposite ones. This is actually not very useful at all, so shouldn't have that at all. And I have Giant Slayer. You can take a picture or whatever of this mastery list and never use it because it's not good. It's a hybrid build. I'd have to figure out how to change it. Really, for arena, at this point in the game, I would probably lean more towards Hell Smasher over the crit damage. And the reason being that I'm facing more and more defensive teams. It seems that there's, with the way that the game is going, at least on defense, as everyone wanted the high offensive team to be able to farm arena, but more and more people seem to be getting more characters, building more defensive teams, and I'm struggling more with the really defensive teams. And the more and more defensive teams that come out, the better that reduced defense would be. So you can also get stuff like the Cruel, I believe, set, which gives 5%. There's also a 25% ignore defense set as well. So it might be good to start looking into those, because obviously ignoring defense is great against characters that stack a ton of defense. And I think I've shown him for my other video too. He's really geared for an offensive character, and his masteries are not great for clan boss or purely for arena, so I need to probably change them up, but I just don't know which way to go yet. I'm thinking that he's probably going to move away from being on my clan boss team in most cases. I've already sort of stopped using him, and so I'll probably end up choosing more of a arena-based set of masteries for him. Big Gun is actually I use him in tons of dungeons because he's fantastic. I'd say he's similar to more of a typical clan boss type build, if there is such one, for someone who doesn't have... He has debuffs, but not usually a clan boss. He has the speed reduction debuff, right? So I gave him a little bit of the accuracy side for that. I just don't feel that the HP is that high. He's not a healer, don't have shields on him, so you basically take the right hand side of the support tree here and just go with ability that potentially gives him extra turns where possible, but most of it comes from attack, which I think is fine. If I was giving him just solely for campaign farming, it would probably knock a few seconds off some of the rounds where I don't one-shot everything. Occasionally I do, but in order to buff up his damage, you take the first hit ones and the abilities where if the rest of your team dies, you get extra damage or speed, or extra speed for killing stuff. I only did the shield one. You never get that one. Some of the ones on sort of the more right hand side of the offensive tree would be better for a pure campaign farmer, but because he's so well geared, don't really need to worry about his campaign farming. If he takes 20 seconds versus 10 seconds to farm, sure, it is double the time, but it's down from Executioner, who I was using before, and Executioner was taking up to maybe a minute to farm the same map that Big Gun could potentially do in 10 seconds if he kills everything in one shot. So again, sort of a hybrid build. I'm not perfect, we'll put it that way. Stuff needs to be worked on. Royal Huntsman, actually, I was originally using for a lot of PvE as well, but he also has sort of a hybrid PvE PvP build. He does have these abilities, which are more PvP related. Maybe not even the speed attack one, but I don't know. He does have the defensive down ability, so maybe some of the more accuracy pieces would be good. You see, I haven't finished masteries with him yet. Don't really know if I need to or want to. And he's doing okay as is. The real thing that would buff him the most is if I put skill books into him and increase his damage that way. He doesn't have any skill books yet, very expensive. But his dead aim ability here, which basically still one-shots, at least when it crits, it one-shots pretty much every single other hero. So don't really need to buff him up too much. That's his main purpose, is to take out one troubling hero, like take out Roshguard if he can, or take out Skull Crusher or someone's counterattack like Martyr or Valkyrie. That's where I use him for. Seeker, I think I showed him before too. Pure speed, defense, or HP wherever possible. Just happen to have defense. Actually getting him close to getting Giant Slayer as well, which is funny. He will be also having a sort of a hybrid build. Don't know if I'll always use him. What I'm missing for Clan Boss is someone with counterattack. So because of that, I still have some characters I'm kind of not sure which way they'll go. Once I get a counterattack build, it'll make the choice much easier. But for now, sort of weird hybrid build. So I think this particular ability is insanely important for whatever characters in Arena go first. To reduce enemy turn meter is amazing. So for Seeker, and potentially, and probably Gore Grab as well, you're going to want this ability. For all of your AoE mass damage dealers, also good, maybe not as important, but reducing turn meter, absolutely fantastic in Arena and a lot of dungeons as well. So look for that. There you go. There you have it. So I don't know who else I would probably ever use in Arena. If I didn't have any legendaries and I just had the epic and rare heroes that I have, I would be struggling. But I'll show you one guy. So Warcaster, I have him rank 5. He's a void hero, so that makes him a little bit cooler. But he has the ability to steal buffs, and buff steal has recently been fixed, so that could potentially be good. This is a character that I'm looking to use to beat Roshguard. The only problem is, so he does have this A2 ability where he attacks everybody, but he only has a 50, you can rank it up to 75% chance with skill tomes, chance of blocking buffs, which blocks Roshguard's invulnerability buff. And then potentially, if he gets a second attack and doesn't die before that, he can go in and steal the buff from another character that has it. Typically, from what I've seen, in the Roshguard teams that I have beat, which isn't many of them, but there are some, people are building Roshguard with lots of speed, because really all he is designed to do is put his buffs up and protect all of the squishier AoE people. So if you can get the buff, get Warcaster to go before Roshguard, and block buffs, I'd say the AoE characters, and you can take out the AoE characters, makes the fight much more doable. Very niche. I'm at the point where, you can see here too, I have So 1, 2, 3, 4 Diablos that are 5-star ready for food. The Crusher's food, Executioner's food, the Flinger's food. So I have enough to 6-star another hero and then some. So kind of it's gotten to the point now that it's very easy for me to rank up heroes with a very fast farmer. So I'm not too worried about getting level 60s. So potentially I might just get Warcraft to 60 to try it out. Still takes a lot of time, but I mean if I'm going to play for a while each day, I can probably do 1.5 to 2 level 60s in a day, but spending a lot of gems on energy, of course. So I'm not sure who to try out or what I need. What I really need is a martyr. If I could somehow get a martyr, that would be the most amazing character I could get. There's a bunch of other characters I would love to have. I would love to have a Rush Guard. I'd love to have a Baron, a Septimus. There's a bunch of cool characters I'd love to try out in Arena that I think could be very good. But I also don't have a very good defensive Arena team. Luckily, that's not really necessary at this point. Like you get the Arena badges from offense. You save your points a little bit from defense, but I'm not too worried about that because I can hopefully get most of them back on offense. Even on offense, I don't really know who I would swap out, other than if I had a Lord Shazar. That might be the one character I'd have to think about. Maybe I'd swap out Huntsman for him, maybe even Fushan. I don't know. That would be a tough call. So that'd be one that'd be interesting. Looks like the Brutal Clan boss is down. So I did just almost not enough to get the Grandmaster chest. I did 21.2 million damage. But 2 Master chests is not terrible. Oh, some crit rate Immortal Gloves. Maybe that would be good for Vrask. Maybe. And an Immortal Shield is only 3 stars. Probably not worth keeping. I will just sell it now. I do these for the brews. I use the brews to help turn 1-star heroes into 2-star heroes. Makes that part a little bit faster. I did get the Nightmare Ultimate chest today and got an Epic Tome in it, so pretty awesome. Could use a couple more Legendary Tomes, but an Epic Tome is really good too. There you go. That's the first video on Arena. Part 1 of, we'll say, 3. Probably talked about a bunch of other characters. That'll be in parts 2 and 3 as well. You saw a little bit of Arena footage. You saw my Arena team. And yeah, so I think to progress in Arena, you definitely need to have speed is insanely important. I have a list here. There's probably about 8 or 9 other characters that can also be used. So if I missed one, I'm sorry. There's other characters too. I mean, there's Doomscreech. He's a void hero people often use. Anointed. You can use even like Lua, Sylar. Marksman has a little bit of one. The Tomb Lord, legendary guy, has kind of a niche one. I think that if they're below 50% health, you reduce their turn meter. Even Executioner, his Tumult ability has a built-in 20%, I think, turn meter reduction, plus has a chance to put a slow debuff on them. So there's lots of characters that have kind of things. Oh, and Shatterbones. I'll just point out Shatterbones. Underrated. Some people don't even know about him. I think the reason why he's not as popular is his debuff moves also don't attack the enemy hero. Right? I think he puts the speed debuff, fills your allies. Actually, I take that back. So his attack does reduce turn meter. His buff is kind of like Gorgrab and Seeker, where it just buffs you. So you have 1 round of that, and 1 round where you can potentially decrease their turn meter. But even with Tombs, it only has a 75% chance. He's an epic, right? Not a legendary. So it's like he has sort of all of the turn meter, buffing, debuffing type stuff, just spread out through his 3 abilities. his aura is accuracy, which probably would not use in many cases, but so lots of cool heroes that can be used for the purpose of Arena of going first. Hopefully, if you're planning to go far in it, you probably want a Seeker. I think that's the number one character to get on offense, other than possibly Lysandra. And hopefully you get a Prince Kymar or Lord Shazar for the speed aura, and two really good AoE arena or AoE legendary heroes, which we'll talk about in a future video. Cool. So hope you guys like that video. Stay tuned, and we will see you in the next one.